What's up, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls Pod, presented to you by PointsBet. Don't forget that promo code CHGO when you sign up to live your bet life. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. Big Dave here is at Bal, BAWL Sports. Where is Will? There he is in the magic Brazilian bubble. Will the Go Gottlieb at Won't Gottlieb on Twitter. We are at CHGO_Bulls. Follow the team account. Working our way from 4,000 to 6,000.
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, I completely forgot I told him what I was doing at 5,000. I got to wear this Tigers and Tukes outfit at 5.
Happening.
Yeah, I will do it. I won't say it won't be happily. I'll do it, but I will definitely do it and sit here for an entire hour. But I wanted to say something, and I was going to bring it up because I thought we were going to be in A. But next time we're in A, I want to see this. I don't know if you all have noticed, and I'm only mentioning it because it's become a pattern. But at around 3:30 or about 3:40, there's a guy that comes out of his condo every day.
And walks along
without a shirt
on, smoking a cigarette.
Smoking a cigarette.
Is this the first you're seeing of this guy?
No, it's not my first time. I'm saying I was just making sure it was a pattern before I sat here and brought this up.
So yes, we usually on the Bulls show don't always get a notice. He's always out.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that this is the first time we've talked about it on this podcast because on other shows it's like he's a minor recurring character.
So it's not just
he's there. He's there all the time. I've never seen him wearing a shirt.
Never, not once.
Or without a cigarette.
It's ugly naked guy from Friends. That's exactly what it is.
Hey man, it's summer. If you don't want to wear a shirt, don't wear a shirt.
I'm not
Y'all
mad
are
at
lucky
him.
that I've worn a shirt for every episode of last
He's in his
3 months.
house. Like, he can do what he wants. You know what I'm saying? I don't care that he does. It's funny. And that's the only reason I'm bringing it up, because it's like clockwork. You can set your watch to it around every time he comes out. So when he comes out again, I'm going to draw attention to this next time we're over here in the studio, man.
He was out there even when we had the tornado warning. He was out there, no shirt. He's trooper.
He's just trying to get a good view of the tornado, man.
That's it. Just never
Learned
a shirt.
nothing from the movie Twister,
Never shoes.
apparently.
Yeah, and he's never out there for more than 5 minutes. Like, it's always quick. It's either a phone call or he's sitting there or a cigarette. Never more than 5 minutes. Will, I can't wait for you to get back so you can see this as well.
I actually have seen it. I do remember that from you may not remember this, Dave, but I was in the studio for a short period of time this summer, and I do remember.
Will was here.
Can you believe that?
Will was here. I have no recollection of that ever happening.
Yeah, I shouldn't ask Matt because Matt's more upset about it than I am. So
I do remember in the dead of summer heat when I was trying to peel my back off of the chair that was just glued from all the sweat. I remember looking over my right shoulder and seeing him.
Seeing this young man, I need a name for him now. I got to get him some. What do y'all
The bald-headed menace.
No. No. He's
that name has already been taken, Joey.
He's not a minute. He's just living his life. He's living his bet life over there. So he's doing all right. But
We'll think of something.
All right. We don't have any more time to talk about the shirtless guy that hangs out on the roof.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about this Bulls official full 82 22-23 season schedule that just got dropped yesterday afternoon. And then after that, we're going to talk about another team in the East and their offseason moves. We're talking about the Cavs today.
Ooh.
You know that because I'm wearing my Joakim Cleveland t-shirt. So, gentlemen, let's dive right in. Joey, let's take a look at the first couple of months here in the schedule. What jumps out to you guys when you look at that first couple of weeks in October leading into November when you look at this schedule?
For me, I was just very happy, when I saw it, because I'm like, oh, schedule time, yay! But the honest answer was the times, because I was like, oh man, there are quite a few 6:30 games here, and I was pretty excited about that. Not gonna lie to you, I was like, hey, that's from 6:30. That means we can get out of here a couple 5 o'clocks. I'm with all of that. I like that, but the back-to-back with Toronto jumps out at me. I'm always interested in back-to-backs, and the Bulls have, I think, 2 of them in the schedule. We'll get into a little bit later the other one. But, yeah, the back-to-back stands out to me because the game before that, you're playing at Boston, and then you're going to Toronto, and then you got Toronto again at home, and then you play New Orleans, and then you play Denver. Like, for me, that's a nice little gauntlet right there.
Woo.
You know what I'm saying? Because we're talking – New Orleans is going to be an issue now, Will. I mean, because they got Zion back. And then you got C.J. McCollum, you know what I mean? And you got Brandon Ingram. So, and you got, I forget who's the rookie that was whooping everybody's ass last year, Jones.
Yeah.
You got him in there, and then you got Grand Theft Arturo out there. So Matt's guy. And, yeah, so they're going to be interesting. So that's a heck of a nice little chunk of games for the Bulls, man. And a back-to-back within that kind of just stood out for me, Will.
Were you talking about Jose Alvarado just now?
Yeah. What I call him? Arturo?
Arturo.
Yeah, same thing.
Well, dude, Will, you remember when we saw him on that Vegas casino floor when we were out there for Summer League?
Yeah, he's shorter than I am.
You're the one who spotted him. I was scanning the casino floor, my eye line and above, looking for NBA players, and you're like, oh, we just walked past Jose Alvarado, and I was like, what?
You just called Will short?
It was like Eric Spoelstra and Caron Butler walking behind him.
Right, yeah.
Looking as tan as somebody could possibly look. A giant chain.
Hanging out on Riley's yacht all summer.
Through the Aria casino floor. And then right behind him was just like Jose Alvarado walking around looking like a normal person, normal height. It was hilarious. But in terms of the schedule, I really wanted to have like strong feelings about it. But the first thing that really I noticed was like, there aren't very many teams that are trying to be bad or that are just going to be bad this year. I don't know if that's a product of the play-in tournament or just like 4 or 5 or 6 teams maybe going all out to tank for Wembanyama. But like the beginning and the end of this schedule is really insane. I mean, you start off with Miami, Boston, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, Boston again, Toronto, New Orleans, Denver, all with like in the first month of the season.
Yeah.
I think I pointed this out in my column from today, just sort of giving my thoughts on what the schedule looked like, but they play 10 of their 15 total games against the top 4 teams in the East from last year in the first half of the season. So 10 of 41 games in the first half of the season against the teams that they went 1-14 against last year. So super tough first half of the season. And then it dies down a little bit in January and February. Hopefully they can start to gobble up some wins there and make up some ground. And again, just a gauntlet to end out March and April. Very similar to what we had last year. So not an easy schedule. I know they also have like, I think the most amount of back-to-backs, second most travel, very few rest advantage games, very many rest disadvantage games. So it is kind of like, it does feel a little bit skewed, but to me at the end of the day, it's all just kind of like the schedule. Every team plays every team. The order, it matters. It doesn't matter. Teams are better than you thought they would be to start the season. Teams are worse. So it may all just come out in the wash, but also kind of looks like the Bulls are going to be going through it a little bit to start and certainly to finish the season.
Yeah, it's definitely a stark difference from last season that was sort of like a nice, easy wading into the waters and allowed the Bulls to get out to that 4-0 start because the opening of the schedule was pretty soft. As Old Buckness is saying in the comments, this season, this schedule, baptism by fire. You mentioned the back-to-backs, Will, especially in the early going. That includes, that is included in 9 games in their first 15 days of the schedule. 9 in 15. Mm-hmm. That's obviously, you don't have to be a great mathematician to know that's more than every other day for the first 3 weeks of the schedule. That's a lot. Also, from October 19th, season opener, to November 7th, so just a shade over 3 weeks, you're playing 7 games against East playoff teams from last year. Big Dave, you mentioned the consecutive games against the Raptors. Yeah. You also play Boston twice. You play Milwaukee. You play Philly. You play Miami. You play Brooklyn. I mean, maybe it's like interesting in a way to be like, okay, it's a bunch of big tests right out of the gate. Yeah. How much will the Bulls have their shit together just from a hopefully good training camp versus how much will those teams have their shit together? Will those games be sloppy because it's the first couple of weeks of the season, they're still figuring out how to play? Right. Or will it be elite level competition right out of the gate? Either way, definitely different from last season.
But I think you kind of hit on why I like it is now you get those tests early. Yeah. And you get to figure it out early for the Bulls because a lot of things were said about that record. You mentioned that 1-14, Will. A lot of that was coming on the heels of guys not being there. You know what I mean? Guys being injured, whether it was COVID, whatever you want to call it. So people were kind of leaning on that. Let's remove all that then now. Let's just start y'all fresh. How about everybody coming? How about Zach LaVine not have that finger injury or he's not dealing with that knee or anything like that? So let's just get some of this stuff out the way and see exactly where this team stands. So I like that aspect of it because starting your first game of the season is against the Heat. Look, it's your first game of the year in Miami. It's your first game, man. Like, your test is starting early. You know what I mean?
It's a shame that Gottlieb's going to be rooting for a Bulls loss in their season opener.
It's tough, man. It's tough. He's going to be on that, but you know, it's okay. You know what I mean?
We know where your allegiances really lie.
Know where your heart is.
Over there on Jimmy Bucket Beach.
How dare you?
He got extensions. Will's going to go get extensions later. But I like it though. I do like this. Though.
I would pay to see that.
Oh, I pay good money. But I just like it a lot though. I really do, that they get to have these tests out early on while they still have that health. And hopefully it just continues on, because that, I think a lot of those things that the Bulls were trying to talk about a lot in this offseason, that continuity and those kind of things. Yeah. That stuff is why it's good to see this stuff early. You know what I mean? Because you played together already. Now it's everybody knowing each other. We know what everybody likes to do. Everybody kind of knows DeMar DeRozan now. You're not going to come in, sleeping on DeMar DeRozan. They're going to come in aggressive on DeMar DeRozan. How's Zach LaVine going to respond to that? How's Patrick Williams going to respond to that? How's Ayo going to look? Ayo, like my boy says, Ayo look like he's starting Creed. That man is in shape right now. He is definitely swole up. So a lot of questions for me will be answered sooner than later, and I like that.
Dontavius in the comments real quick saying, agreeing with you, Dave, this is where you see if the continuity choice was the right one.
Yeah.
NBA testing the Bulls from the jump. And then several people in the comments talking about this makes whether or not Lonzo's ready to go out of the gate even more important when you see the level of competition that they're going to be up against starting in October.
That's true. Go ahead, Will.
And that's exactly where I was going to go, was the Lonzo thing and health. I think so. Mark and I recorded our episode that will come out tomorrow, and we talked a lot about Lonzo, and it sort of led us into this conversation about continuity and how a lot of that just does depend on Lonzo's health. So I think all those things are tied together. If the Bulls come out of the gate, Lonzo's not healthy, or maybe even Lonzo is healthy but not playing his basketball, if they don't start hot, I mean, what does that say about this whole idea of continuity? At what point do they start to make some tough decisions? How much do they sit through some of these growing pains? I think it's going to be a really interesting start to the season. I do think they will probably start to find their stride a little bit in the sort of January, February time. But, if they're in too deep of a hole by then, that could be trouble. So we'll see how it goes. But certainly a weird sort of off balance schedule in terms of a hard start. And I do like what you're saying, Dave, about, being challenged out of the gates. I just hope they're ready to take that challenge with, health being the big thing, as we talk about literally every single day.
All right, let's move to the next portion of the schedule, Joey, if you please. Here is a look at December. What? No, wait, that's January and February. What happened to December? Oh, did we already have December on the previous screen? Okay.
Oh, it's okay.
There's not a lot that grabbed my attention about December. Just real quick, that is the first of their two games against the Warriors, December 2nd at Golden State. That's in smack dab in the middle of a big, long road trip, spanning back into November into December. Would like to see the Bulls play better against the Warriors this season than they did last season, because as I recall, they got blown out by the Warriors twice last year.
Two times. Yeah. You like to see them play better. Again, like, they're the benchmark now. You know what I mean? How do you look against the champs? That is the benchmark. So we saw the ass whoopings that happened against them last year. You saw what occurred going forward for the Chicago Bulls. So let's see what it is going against them, because I can't remember a time in recent years, guys, where we weren't getting our ass whooped by Golden State. That's usually what the trend has been, and them either setting records on us, or
Klay Thompson setting records while he's bleeding from the head,
or having cool pictures of Steph Curry, turned around flipping flapjacks and high-fiving people while the ball is in the air about to go into the bucket. So yeah, that's definitely going to be a good test for them. And also through that, again, the back-to-back game that's happening again with the New York Knicks. But that's coming on the heels of Dallas, Atlanta, 2 against New York. Then you're going at Minnesota, at Miami, at Atlanta, then back at New York. So that's a heck of a, gauntlet right there too. So again, the Bulls are going to get it early, and they're going to get it often. So we're going to find out quickly, Will, what it is.
Yeah, and the other one that stands out is the late November, early December road trip. That's 6 games. They're going to face Milwaukee. OKC and Utah will be sort of tankathon games. I think both of those teams are going to be in the Wemby sweepstakes. But then Phoenix, Golden State, and Sacramento, I mean, they're trying to win games, and the Bulls have lost to them before. So none of these games are going to be walkover. As I kind of mentioned before, I mean, there just aren't very many teams that are not trying to be really good this year, especially early on in the season. The Washingtons, maybe even like the Indianas of the world are going to try to be winning games. Who knows what's going to happen with Brooklyn? Charlotte's going to be trying to win games. So it's not going to be easy. But again, they have to play every team. They play all the East teams at least 3 times. They play the West teams twice. That's just kind of how it goes.
Okay, now let's move into January, February. This is sort of like if the Bulls season is an Oreo cookie, the middle of the season is the nice, soft, creamy center.
Ooh.
Because there are fewer gauntlets, fewer games against the real elite teams of the NBA.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to highlight in January the game against the Pistons on the 19th because it's in Paris, and if all goes according to plan and we bug our bosses enough, we'll all be there watching the Bulls play a game in Paris.
Oh, the bugging's going down. It's going to happen.
Do I have the Google Flights open right now looking at prices? Yes, I do.
Yes, you do? If
Yes,
the DNVR Nuggets crew gets to be in Serbia right now watching Jokic play for his team.
Shout out to them for that, by the way.
Shout out to them for that. Happy for them.
That's awesome.
But also mad jealous. FOMO sent us to Paris.
We need a large amount of super chats coming in.
I want to wear a Bulls warm-up track jacket and a black beret,
yes,
just like MJ in Paris in '97.
I want to see if I can make the people in Paris believe that Matt is Will Purdue's son. I want to see if I can do that and pull that one off right there. I'm looking forward to that. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to that game right there. That should be fun. But you're right, Matt. A lot of
winnable games.
Yeah, a lot of catch-up games for the Bulls right here. Even though, like I said, I'm not really worried about it's only 3 teams in the East I'm really truly concerned about, and that's the top 3. Everybody else, I'm like, bring that shit on. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So we got to play them, but they got to play us too. You know what I mean? It works both ways here. So yeah, but looking at that, you got your OKCs in there. You got your Charlotte, you got your Orlando, you got Indiana. So yeah, you're gonna have time. Utah, as Will mentioned, isn't going to be as threatening,
right?
You know what I'm saying, of an opponent. Even though the Bulls, played well against them, but I still remember when Donovan Mitchell went insane.
Mitchell could still be gone.
Yeah,
there's still talk about a deal there with the Knicks. So
yeah, it's still up in the air, man. But the game I really want to see is the game against the Clippers, because Kawhi will be back.
Kawhi, Paul George, John Wall. What does that look like?
Yeah, exactly. I want to know what that is. I want to know what that looks like. And yeah, I'd like to get that question answered and then just to see Kawhi actually go against Patrick Williams, who he really kind of patterns his everything after, including his mannerisms and how he doesn't talk, or anything like that. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see that, man. It's good to see Kawhi back out on.
Although there's no way it can top the Bulls-Clippers game from late in the regular season this past season.
Oh no! Oh my God!
We were sitting here watching that game, losing our damn minds.
That was an awesome, awesome game. Paul George had to come out because he was on that time restriction and everything, and DeMar just
the comeback. Wasn't there an epic P. Will dunk near the end of that game?
Yes, it was.
That was after he'd come back from his injury.
Yes, he was. That and one that DeMar hit. You know what I'm saying? That fadeaway.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
What a game that was.
All right, Will. What about you? Anything about this January stretch of the schedule that sticks out?
Aside from the Paris game, I think we should point out the rivalry week that the NBA is doing. I know, Matt, you have feelings about this, but basically, I think it's the 24th to the 28th. The NBA is implementing these national TV rivalry games.
26th, I
26,
think?
yes, 26.
Something like that. And teams are like the Warriors, and I don't actually have it in front of me, but I assume like the Warriors and Celtics will be playing Celtics Lakers. Real like rivalry throwback games, and then they have the Bulls and the Hornets playing on TNT, which is kind of hilarious, but it's also Lonzo versus LaMelo. Assuming I tweeted this out, I didn't even mean it any kind of way, but assuming Lonzo's back for that, I hope he is. I assume so, but
I saw that tweet
you can't really,
and I did not care for it.
You can't really know. I mean,
a game in
late
January, and you're like, well, I hope Lonzo's back by then. That's just
I do hope he's back.
That's just so skeptical and pessimistic of you, and I did not appreciate
Will,
it.
they've been mad at you lately on Twitter. I saw Will talking about Andre Drummond, surpassing Rodman.
Having a better career
Why y'all
RPGs
so
and
mad
Rodman
about that?
because
I don't understand it.
he knows what he was doing. He knows what buttons he was pushing.
I just thought he was giving the stat to say, "Hey, look, Drummond is good." That's all I thought he was doing.
Don't
Like,
make me
he's
throw
good.
my hat right now.
Dude, why were they so mad? Well, I don't understand why they were so mad at you, bro. I
Shame.
really don't.
Thank you, Dave.
I really don't. Shame.
Besmirching a Bulls legend
He wasn't. He was
with
stating
Drummond's rebound
I
numbers.
just like how he was like, "What are you yelling at me for? I'm right. It's
yeah.
a fact."
Yeah, you hear that thunder roll? That's coming for you. JK, the Blue Angels are practicing for the Air and Water show.
I got you, Will. I got you, man.
Yeah, the rivalry thing is dumb. Like, clearly it's just a LaMelo-Lonzo thing that the league's trying to play up. And if LaMelo stays with the Hornets and Lonzo stays with the Bulls for years and seasons to come, maybe it will turn into something, and maybe this is the start of that. Anyone else, I saw people, like, I tweeted about it too yesterday saying, like, this isn't dumb. Bulls-Hornets not a rivalry. Some Bulls fans were like, well, you know, MJ owns the Hornets. Not a thing.
Not a rivalry,
Not a
though.
thing.
Yeah.
Don't care.
I like that right there.
Is he wearing shorts? No? Don't care.
I like Dontavius right there pointing up there. Funny enough, Lonzo just posted the January schedule on Instagram. Like he just put
I think
it
that's
up.
because that's the one that has his picture on it.
Well, yeah, it
I
could be.
hope that wasn't the Bulls being like, this is when we get Lonzo back.
No, I just like the fact he's putting up anything Bulls related to him playing. Like I'm just happy with all of that. So yeah, and again, like he told me when we were in Summer League, says he's fine. That was my exclusive. He told me he was good. So yeah, I'm taking that to the bank.
That was like one of my favorite moments of knowing you. Just we were walking on the sideline trying to go to the media section. Lonzo walks by. Dave's like, "Oh, hey, Lonzo Ball, how you doing?" "I'm doing fine." That was great.
Adam said it's an internal rivalry in LeVar Ball's head when it's Bulls Hornets. Yeah, I don't think he cares who wins those games. I just think he wants to be able to brag about his sons.
Oh yeah, he'll be there.
He wins.
Okay.
He wins those games.
Oh yes,
He does.
He does.
We still got to go through March, April. Actually, we still need to talk about at least one more game in February. We'll do that coming up next. We got to take a quick break here to tell you guys that today's episode is brought to you by PointsBet. PointsBet Sportsbook is counting down the days until the football season with a new offer every day until the season kicks off. From now until September 8th, PointsBet Power Hour will unlock a new daily offer from noon to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sign up for PointsBet now using that promo code CHGO to also get those risk-free bets up to $2,000. Don't miss out on your chance to get daily access to free bets, boosted odds, and so much more now through September 8th. But that's not all. If you make $51 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our great web content, including that piece that Will the Go Gottlieb dropped last night on allchgo.com, evaluating every nook and cranny of this Bulls schedule that just got released. Plus, a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO merch locker. Download the PointsBet app today. Use code CHGO to take advantage of this limited time offer. Once the game starts, maybe it's the Bears preseason game tonight. Kick off at 7 p.m.
Huh?
When that game starts, Will, don't just bet. Tell the people what to do.
Live your bet life.
That's what you do right there. Yes. Let me tell y'all, man. Everybody is one scoop away. You are one scoop away, y'all.
Might be more than
from
a few.
greatness. No, you're just one scoop away,
One scoop?
sir. One scoop away. That's it. That's all you need. One scoop away from having better gut health, from having your
As
immune
Peck
system better,
slowly takes a
more
sip of his
energy,
beer.
more recovery, and more focus. I said one scoop away, sir. You don't need that.
No?
You don't need that.
One scoop?
No. Not one sip.
One scoop?
Not one sip. One scoop. I'm going to get you some, man. Well, see, there's
There's
the
Athletic
difference.
Greens in here.
Look at that man, and look at that man in that bubble. You tell me who has had their 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source superfoods.
That was
I
just
think it's
me.
that one.
Who's had their probiotics and their adaptogens? Who's had it? It helps you start that day correctly. All right? And it's nice, and it don't cost you nothing, y'all. It's less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than that cold brew habit. You know, that's a cold brew. Yeah, what I did?
I got a cold
See what
brew
I
over
did? I
here.
know, you got a cold brew.
Yeah.
See what I did? See what I did there? Yeah, thank you. It's cheaper than getting all those different supplements yourself, and you're investing in that all-in-one nutritional insurance. Now, I'm going to go to the GOAT for this question right here, man, because he's all about the Athletic Greens. Will, what's the biggest thing that Athletic Greens has done for you? What's the big change what taking Athletic Greens has done for you, sir?
I think it's got to be number one, the routine. I just love getting my day started with it. I feel like it sets me up on track for the rest of the day. And then just digestion and general gut health. That has been key for me.
What about the adaptogens?
Oh,
The adaptogens
Well, that goes
are,
without
they
saying.
just feed into it. I feel them flowing through my veins at all times.
coursing through those veins, y'all. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of that immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bulls. That's athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bulls to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance because it's Athletic Greens. You scoop that, you dump that, you shake that, you drink that. Then what you do, Will?
You feel.
Do that there.
So tasty and good for you. All right. Moving to February on the Bulls schedule, it's obvious. There's one game that we care about in this month of February.
You're telling us this one game?
And it's February 16th.
Okay.
And we all know why we care about that game and that game only. Because it's the return of the TNT Bulls.
Yes.
Oh, look at that beautiful graphic that Joey made for us.
It's going down,
Look at
baby.
it. I love it.
Yes.
Oh,
I love it.
for the
right
first
there.
time since 2017, the TNT Bulls streak will come out of hibernation.
Yes.
The Bulls host the Bucks on TNT at home on Thursday night.
It's a big
The
deal.
Bulls from 2012 to 2017.
Yes.
When they played on TNT at home on a Thursday night, 20-0.
Yeah.
They play the Bucks February 16th, Thursday, home TNT.
Yeah.
The TNT Bulls are back, and it's against the Bucks. God, I love that.
Against who now?
The Bucks.
You know what? To if it was 7-0, 9-0 or something
No.
like that, you're like, okay, maybe, 20-0.
And it was somewhere,
is
I
a
believe,
thing,
around
man.
the 14-15 season. And in the 14-15 season, they had like 5
Right.
of those games.
Correct.
And they won the first couple. And then somebody, I can't remember who deserves all the credit for being the first to notice that.
I think
Was
it was
like-
Jason Pat
Was it?
or Cody Westerland.
Okay.
I think you're right.
Sounds about right.
And because Cody had a
those two have
great
been-
tweet yesterday
those
with
two
a
have been
breakdown of every win in that span of time. Shout out to Cody Westerland. It's incredible how that streak is so random and so beautiful, and it never died.
No. Never went away, man. It just went dormant.
Undefeated from when that streak started until it went dormant.
Never lost.
And it's back.
And what's awesome about it is that since it's on TNT, they're not playing trash teams.
No, they're
You know what I'm
playing
saying?
the
They're playing
freaking
legit,
Bucks.
straight up squads. So I'm saying those 20
They beat
wins.
the 2017 Warriors
Come on, man.
with Kevin Durant.
Who remembers the Heat
They held them
game?
to like 85 points.
Who remembers that Heat game when Rose was gone, when nobody was
Yep.
out there, and Etwan Moore with that came in there. I remember everything
Oh,
about
yeah.
that day.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that was a great, great day. I was over at a friend's house. It was a very smoky room. I'll get into it another day. But yes, it was a wonderful, wonderful time, man. It was just a great, 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 great game. It's going to feel good to see that. They're going to have stats galore about that. To see Ernie Johnson and Shaq and Kenny and Chuck actually talking about the Bulls. And in my head, they're going to be talking about them positively because I think the Bulls are going to be cool at that point. But yeah, man, it's just great. And going up against Milwaukee, who is a rival. That's a rival.
Yeah.
Going against them, man. And your boy, Captain Dipshit, it's going to be great. It's going to be great, Will. I can't wait to see
So
it.
it's a home game. Will, you'll be at the UC covering the game. Of
course he will.
Fair warning to you, Dave. I will be intolerable that night.
Oh, fair warning to you, Matt. I know this.
I'm gonna be off my rocker.
I think we need to prepare Joey. I think we know what's going to happen, and we've seen it. Joey's caught a glimpse,
Dude.
I don't think he's caught.
I'll be rooting for that regular season win like
Yeah.
it's the goddamn finals.
Hat throws. Get you a hat throw counter, Joey. It should be in effect.
I take solace in the fact that even if they lose, we will figure out a way to specify the parameters of this streak even more to keep it alive. It's got to be at home on a Thursday on TNT during the regular season. We'll find a way. Maybe it'll be against East Coast teams only. Who knows? Even if they lose, it's still going to stay alive.
True.
Some way or another.
but they're gonna win. So
I love this.
They're gonna win.
We got some predictions. Niall saying DeMar and Zach are going to combine for 60 in that game.
Ooh.
Vooch is going to give us 20 and 15.
Come on with it.
Meanwhile, Buckness is predicting that I will need to be watching the game in a straitjacket in a padded room.
That won't help.
You're not wrong. It might help.
Won't help.
Might help.
He'll still be flinging his body about trying to run into things. Man. It's not going to stop that.
Okay, so that's the highlight of the February schedule. Joey, let's move to the rest. The home stretch, March and April. This is the other side. This is the back end. This is the hard cookie part of the Oreo again.
Pointing at stretch.
So they end the season with the Pistons.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a little bit of a cupcake in Game 82 when maybe you're resting players anyway, depending on what the seating situation is. Who knows?
Yeah.
But going back, starting with the Mavs, Game 81, and working your way back all the way until you get to Sacramento in late March, middle of March. Every game on that slate is against a team that could very well be fighting for seeding and playoff bound.
Yeah, the one game I don't want to play this late is Memphis.
Oh,
I don't want to play Memphis this late.
I saw that. I was like, oh my
You know
God.
what I'm saying? Right.
John, those boys are still going to be playing 100 miles an hour.
They already have at least 3 highlights on the Bulls that just pop up in my head already, and I'm sick of it. Even though I love John, I'm tired of his team doing that to us. So that's going to be an important game for the Bulls. You got that back-to-back with the Lakers and the Clippers. You know, even though the Bulls handled that very well out west last time, you got that game going back-to-back. And, you know, you got Philly back-to-back, man.
Philly back. That's the part that I noticed. Is like, well, that's just mean.
Philly back-to-back. Does anybody else have 3 back-to-back games, you know, on their schedule? I really would like to know. But, yeah, man, like Philly back-to-back is tough because you never beat them. So
does it increase the Bulls' chances of finally beating the Sixers? Because if you play them that quickly in succession, you might get a good night on one of those 2 nights.
It didn't happen last year that way.
It did not happen last year.
Yes, it did not go down that way last year, sir. So I hope so. I mean, that's all I can do is hope on this one. But it's tough. That's a definite gauntlet for the second year in a row for the Bulls to go through that kind of gauntlet before they finish up the season like that. So, yeah, but bring it on. Is all I can tell you. Bring it on, bro. Like, we're going to play these games. Go ahead, Will.
It's also, like, all the way even beyond that. I mean, they play Phoenix and Denver leading into that stretch. So Phoenix, Denver, Minnesota, Miami, Philly, Portland, who I think is going to be trying for the playoffs this year, Lakers, Clippers, Hornets, Grizzlies, Hawks, Bucks, Mavs. Like, what a brutal stretch to end the year. And I really just don't want this to be the same movie that we watched last year where things are just spiraling out of control and nobody knows what to do or how to like turn things around. So hopefully, you know, health will be the answer. You know, we'll see. And maybe they make some moves at the deadline. A lot can happen, but what a tough way to go into the playoffs. I think that really like took a toll on them, even just like heading into the playoffs, knowing that they weren't playing their best basketball.
All right, so there it is.
Baby.
I saw some people in the comments earlier predicting a 50-win season. That would be a 4-win improvement on last season, given this schedule. Why do we have to play the Celtics 4 times?
Because they're in the conference.
Why? No, but you don't play every team in the conference that many times.
You're right.
It's
so
bullshit.
You play 3. You're right. It's true.
I would like to file a formal complaint.
I think you should do that.
I don't know if the Bulls are going to squeeze 50 wins out of this schedule. It's a tough schedule.
It's a tough schedule. They have the 12th toughest schedule in the league, according to the numbers, breaking it down. The 12th toughest. So a top 15 tough schedule for the Bulls. Yeah, it's rough. I want to see what it is, you know, when everybody plays and what the second half of the season, who's going to have the toughest schedule then. For me, that's what it's going to matter. You know what I'm saying? Who's going to have that toughest schedule for the Bulls then? Because injuries are going to occur for other teams. We know that. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to disappoint for other teams. We know that as well. So I can't wait for that to happen at that All-Star break, and we know exactly who we're playing and going against. You know, because right now we're just basing it off of last year and what we saw. And also, obviously, off of free agency, you know what I'm saying, and teams getting better and things like that. So, and let me ask you this, though, Will. Of those teams that are winnable, and by those teams I mean like the Detroit, the Orlandos, you know, those kind of teams. Which one of those do you think And like Houston and OKC, which one of those teams do you think can come in and actually steal, some of these games from the Bulls? Like, we actually have to be, on edge and at our best to beat this young team.
I think the Bulls lost a really frustrating one to the Rockets last year. They lost one in Orlando. They did a really good job against bad teams last year for the most part, but no game they're not guaranteed to win every game against teams whose record is worse than theirs. So that's where, you've got to make up some of that ground by beating good teams, and you've got to do your best to hold off the ones that aren't as good as you. I'm curious what you guys think. Our friends at PointsBet, I think the original line came out at 41.5 wins. I believe it's been bet up a little bit to 43.5. Does seeing this schedule change your opinion, or I guess would you take the over or under at this point?
See, that's why Vegas is Vegas, because right now, if you ask me today, take the over under on 43.5, I'd be like, can I just pick 43? Because I'm not super confident.
I think that's the under.
Yeah, technically that is the under, but I mean, it's right there. That's right around where I feel they'll be, somewhere around the mid 40s where they were last year. I would love to say confidently that they're going to win more than the 46 that they won last season. I can't say that right now.
Yeah.
The East either stayed as good as they were or got better this offseason.
They did. And
we've talked at length about the fact that we feel like the Bulls really only improved around the margins, and so much of this is going to come down to the health of their core guys. That's where I'm at.
I think
over.
For me,
go ahead.
You're taking the over. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Yes. And you're under. Surprise, surprise.
People keep asking me, are they going to beat their record assuming full health? They can't. You can't assume full health. I don't think that's a thing that you can assume at this point. So for me, I hate to say it, but I'm also going to go under at this point. That could change depending on injuries around the rest of the league.
Lonzo's not playing until January, so
this is not source. This was a hopeful expression that I hope he's back by mid-January.
I just want people to start yelling at you on Twitter.
They already yell at me plenty. You do not need to stir the pot anymore. But yeah, I mean, I'm baking in some regression on some of the great things that we saw last year. Not too much, but for me, it's more about the health and just not being able to fully expect, even 70 games out of Lonzo and Caruso, I think would be incredible, which I just don't necessarily see that.
No, it's never happened with Lonzo.
I would do a million good deeds between now and October 19th if we got 70-plus games out of Caruso and Lonzo each.
Dude, that would be amazing.
If you had athletic greens every day for a full year, if it meant Lonzo played 70 games, would you do it?
Why do you think I'm drinking athletic greens right now?
He's starting. You heard it here first, people.
Delicious.
Oh, man.
All right. We're going to spend the remainder of today's show talking about the moves that the Cavs made in the offseason. But before that, Big Dave, you want to give one more quick shout-out to PointsBet? If you enjoy CHGO, one way to continue to help us to grow is to download that PointsBet app and use that code CHGO when you sign up. Because not only are you going to get those two, count them, 1, 2, risk-free bets up to $2,000. But if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you will receive that free CHGO membership, which unlocks all that awesome web content. And you'll even get a free t-shirt of your choice from that CHGO locker. And if you're in this beautiful state of Illinois, in this wonderful city of Chicago, where the weather outside is awesome, it looks like Batman should be out there fighting some crime because it's gloom and doom, which means it's chill. And I love it. You can download that PointsBet app right now, register your account from start to finish, and you can do it all from your phone. You'll be signing up with the fastest sportsbook, easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life. When can you start doing that, Matt? In seconds. So what are you waiting for? Once that game starts, you don't just bet. Thrillennium, tell them what they do.
Live your bet life.
Joey.
We don't have the good sound effects over here.
I think I got my swagger back.
Oh my goodness. That was I love it. It just sounded so funny when you were just like, Joey. It's like in the last, you're like, Joey.
Well, we have not been doing the sound effects nearly as regularly. So
That's true.
Yeah, I know.
It's because the read got switched up.
Yeah.
Switched up again.
It's all right, points bet.
We'll be in mid-season form in no time. Don't worry.
You got to keep the reads fresh.
Yeah.
The old read, I was like, if I read this one more time, I'm going to jump off the roof, but then I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm just going to end up hanging out with shirtless guy. All right, y'all. We're going to have to do this a little bit rapid-fire style with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's start with their draft. 14th overall first round, Ochai Agbaji, the stud from Kansas. When I say stud, I mean stud. There you have a look at his measurements. He's 6'6", 217. He's got a 6'10 wingspan. He was the Final Four MOP, Most Outstanding Player. Mm-hmm. In addition to being the 21-22 NCAA champion, Big 12 Player of the Year, All Big 12, Big 12 Tourney Most Valuable Player, All Big 12 Tourney, of course. This guy's a stud. Mm-hmm. 94th percentile in college basketball last season at 1.27 points per catch and shoot jump shot. Also 94th percentile, 1.45 points per shot around the rim in the half court. This guy's got an NBA body.
Yeah.
He's got NBA shooting splits in his senior year at Kansas, 47.5 from the field, just over 40% from downtown, 74 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
There's not anything I don't like about Agbaji's game.
Yeah, like definition of a 3-and-D guy. Mm-hmm. Like that's what he is. Checks every box, that he has. The only knock I would say I have on him is big moments. Is he going to be that good? He kind of shied away in some of those big moments, you know what I'm saying, in the tournament. He did. Numbers kind of dwindled, went a little bit down for what have you. Maybe teams were playing him a little tougher, but I noticed he wasn't taking certain shots that I wanted him to take in those moments like that. But honestly, going to Cleveland, he's not going to be asked to be that dude like that. You know what I mean? So I don't really see that as a big issue for him. This is going to ask him to be what he has been. And that's really a remarkable elite 3-and-D basketball player. So, yeah, man, he's going to fit right in. They've got nothing but size and length and wings out there. So, yeah, he's going to fit right in, Will. I think he's a solid fit for them.
I get why they did it. I disagree with the process. And this speaks to my overall grade for them, which is, I think, maybe lower than some might have it. But I just feel like their core right now is Darius Garland, who's 22, Evan Mobley, who's 20, 21, and Jared Allen, who's 24. Why are you selling out on win now caliber players when your core is that young? Like you can still, they basically got a gift by having this lottery pick. They traded it to the Pacers, lottery protected, and obviously missed the playoffs, so they got to keep it in the Ricky Rubio trade. So they got LeVert and get to keep their pick, and they're going for like a undersized 3-and-D wing. I would have taken Tari Eason there, obviously. I think you guys know how much I loved that dude. But yeah, I just think their offseason was really sort of underwhelming and didn't really love a lot of their moves, especially when you have such an exciting core for the future. Like I think you got to be thinking a little bit more upside and a little less win now. And that I think that pick sort of reflects their overall decision making. So again, I respect the fact that they have a plan, but just wouldn't have gone that way myself.
It's interesting that you say that, Will, because Tari Eason certainly projects more as a big in the NBA, whereas Agbaji is a wing. And if I look at the Cavs roster from last season coming into this season, they got a million bigs. You know what they didn't have? A wing-sized wing. They were starting Lowry at the 3 last year. Yeah. And I'm like, some people say that it worked a little bit better for them than it did for the Bulls. To me, a wing is the piece that they needed, not another big.
Well, I think Agbaji is he's 6'4". He's a little too small, I think, to play.
He's listed at 6'5.5".
I know that's wild, but he's like 6'4".
That's everywhere I've looked has said 6'4". I think Tari is more capable of guarding the 3 for sure. I mean, his jumper is more of a work in progress, and it'll probably never get to the point where Agbaji's is now. But again, I would be going with upside. I would be trying to develop this group together as opposed to just trying to put the most win now possible guys around them. Maybe it works. They still have Karis LeVert. They still have Sexton, who they can retain if they so choose. There's not no other talent upgrades there, but yeah, I didn't love the pick. I would have gone another direction.
And see, it's fun. I agree with what Will was saying about the team and the blah of it, but I kind of disagree about the pick only because when I see him, Will, and I look at the Cavs, I'm thinking of their health. That was one of the things that really bothered them last year is a lot of those guys were gone and a lot of those guys are hurt. Karis LeVert is known for not being there. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get injured. Like, those things happen. Losing Ricky Rubio for that whole season definitely impacted that team because he was having a great year. Lowry is another dude we know who gets hurt often, you know what I'm saying, for that team. And so you have to get those. I think they were making that pick thinking of that, of we don't really want to lose a step, you know, if we're going to try to make this run like we were doing last year. So picking up a rookie like that who plays that wing, could be that 3-and-D, hit that three-pointer, and play that defense, you can still kind of carry on. And, of course, he's a rookie. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a learning curve and all those things for him. But that's why I see his fit with this team. It's more so them worrying about, you know, the health of the future or planning for the health of the future more so than just pushing all their chips to the front of the table kind of thing.
Like I said, I get it. I understand why they did it. I see the vision. That's not how I would have continued on with the rebuild that I think. I mean, they really performed at a super high level with Ricky Rubio on the court. And I think that jump-started their rebuild a little bit further on. Obviously, Garland took like a massive all-star leap. Jared Allen was playing out of his mind. But they had a similar thing to the Bulls where, you know, injuries popped up and they just weren't as good. And I think they had a real opportunity. Like, you mentioned Karis LeVert and his injuries. Like, I don't know if I would have made that trade because now you got to pay him. So I don't know. They've just made a bunch of moves that I'm not super crazy about. I get what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. Maybe part of that was to like try to convince LeBron to come back, although he just signed his extension to stay with the Lakers. But yeah, I don't know. I think they should have been looking up a little bit more than trying to like continue just being the best version of themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The fire. That's what I'm talking about, Will.
Before we move on to their free agent signings this offseason, we should make note of the fact that they had 3 picks in the second round. All the way down to 56, they took Luke Travers, who played for Perth in the NBL in Australia.
My guy.
At 39, they drafted Khalifa Diop, who is the Senegalese player who played in Spain professionally last season.
Okay.
A lot of people thought he could have been a first-round pick. He fell to them at 39. Mm-hmm. He was with Abaji for their like introductory press conference, even though he was a second-rounder. Mm-hmm. And then also squeezed in between those 2 second-round picks, they went with Evan Mobley's younger brother.
I didn't like that at all.
Isaiah Mobley, 49th out of USC. You didn't like the fact that they were hoping for another brilliant Mobley that they could add to the mix?
I start bringing in brothers when you start showing me MVP quality stuff.
So the Thanasis of the world.
Yeah. So the Antetokounmpos.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I'll go get your brother. I'll get your whole family over here if you want on the squad.
Look at the shirt Matt is wearing now. I've never seen anybody go to Cleveland on vacation.
Yeah, the joke.
If you think you have this cornerstone in Evan Mobley, is it really too early to start saying we're just gonna put some pieces around you to make you happy? Because
it's too early.
If you
is it
for me, it is. Like
Mobley's
good. I'm not saying
they're
he's not
Cleveland.
Good.
They're Cleveland.
I got to see that. I got to see more before I'm going and pulling family members in here. Brian Urlacher is again. I remember when the Bears drafted his brother, but that was when Brian Urlacher was doing Brian Urlacher stuff. Then you go get his brother. After 1 year in Cleveland, and he had a good year, you know what I'm saying? But, no, bro. Like, I got to see more before I start going and getting family members and bringing them over. That's just me.
Just saying, it's Cleveland, you know? Sorry, Will.
I just don't, I'm not crazy about any of their draft picks. I feel like they could have gone different directions. I mean, maybe Mobley is being taken, you know, before pick 57, which is I think their last pick, or 56. Like they could have gotten him there and gone for somebody else before that. Kendall Brown was available at 48. They could have taken him with their first second rounder. EJ Liddell was there. Josh Minot, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Ryan Rollins, a bunch of guys that I think will be pretty solid NBA players. So again, I think they're just going for fit across the board in a situation where I don't think they're quite at that level where they can just only be looking at fit now. And they did that on the free agent market as well.
I'll give you an example. Watching LaMelo in his rookie season, what he was doing and balling out of control early on, and we saw it. What they do immediate? Hey, Leangelo, you want to come play for this? You want to come play for this G League team? Come on through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What he end up with? Rookie of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
True.
That's the stuff.
I think
show
Mobley's at that level. Mobley.
I would rather have Mobley's
I
better
gotta
than
see more.
LaMelo.
I gotta see more.
Claimed.
I want more.
He's gonna be.
I think Mobley's like a
perennial
legit
Like,
stud.
player of the year.
Best player on the team stuff. Like the people on miss are like Garland's the best player on their team. That's him. That's it. Your second best player is not going to make me go get your brother. Like that ain't the case. Everybody I talked about was the best player on the team. Urlacher, LaMelo, Giannis. These are all your best players. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I will go get whoever you want. LeBron James kid. Yes. Who you want? You want me to go get him? First round pick? I got you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you got to do that.
Absolutely not waste a pick on Bronny James if it
He
meant getting a season of a 41-year-old LeBron.
Listen,
there's
man.
no way I would do that.
I'm rolling that dice.
Cool.
Yes, I would.
I thought you learned a thing or two when we were out in Vegas this summer. Apparently not.
Did you not see me on the roulette
That is
table?
a bad dice to roll.
Did you not see me on the roulette table, sir?
That's a bad
Come
dice
on
to roll.
now.
That's all I'm saying. Okay, speaking of Darius Garland, though, let's move on to their free agent signings that Will was so underwhelmed by. Keeping Darius Garland on that designated rookie extension, 5 years, just shy of $193 million. To me, just doing that, much in the same way that the Bulls just keeping Zach on a max contract, give them credit for that. The fact that Darius Garland was like, "Yeah, I'll stay in Cleveland. Thanks for the contract. Good job. Garland's a stud." You know that I've been a fan of Garland since the draft that he came out of. Like I've always loved Garland. Yeah. Continue to prove that it's him and not Sexton that is the guy in Cleveland moving forward, the guy that they're going to pair with Evan Mobley. Any of you guys have any specific thoughts on the Garland extension?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's good. It's good that he did the extension. You know what I'm saying? I'll just say that. It's good he did the extension. Go ahead, Will.
I just think it's like even less. You compared it to Zach. I think it's even less of a notable thing because he was a restricted. It was his rookie extension. Like he's not going anywhere. It's just like there was zero risk there. That was just going to happen. So I guess I give them credit for doing it, but there was no other option. I mean, that was always going to happen. The Rubio
Cleveland.
one. Yeah, but like again, he's not passing up $158 million to go play on a $7 million qualifying offer. Like, no, he can demand a trade. But and maybe he will. The one that I actually do like, probably my favorite move for them, was Rubio. They basically traded him to the Pacers after he tore his ACL and brought him back for much less money. He's probably going to miss.
0.4 is great value.
He's going to miss some time this year, but like he really made them go. And I think that's why I was like, why are you trying to load up on guys when like the real fulcrum of your offense was a 35-year-old? Like you still need to be adding talent at that point. I do credit them for bringing him back. He obviously played with some magic there and it worked. But again, I think that's a good enough reason to continue to add talent than just, rely on a 30-plus-year-old who just tore his ACL.
Yeah, I mean, when they brought Rubio back, I was like, really? Obviously knowing the recent injury history, and you just said, off the cuff, a 35-year-old so-and-so who actually was that important to the team. I thought that Rubio was that old too, Will. I thought Rubio was like 37. When I looked it up yesterday when I was doing a little Cavs overview, you know what I found out? Ricky Rubio's 31. He'll be 32 like early on at the start of this upcoming season, but I could have sworn he was 37.
Yeah, man, it's the beard. That's all. It's the beard and the ponytail.
But I mean, if he gets right health-wise, having a vet PG like that on 3 years at $6 million a year, that's a good contract.
I mean, he proved it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good contract. But again, this is going to be his age 32 season. I don't think he plays. So you're paying him to not play this year, and then for his age 33 season and 34 season, he really made them better. I'm not saying this is a bad move at all, and I think the value there is fantastic. Like they basically got him on the taxpayer mid-level, but it's not about him for me. It's about like the idea that if he was the one that made your offense as good as it was, don't you think you should also be looking to add more talent in the draft or make bigger swings on talent in free agency. So it wasn't really about him. I don't think that was a bad move by any means. It was just like the
depending on Rubio.
lack of, I don't really feel like they have a good sense of their identity. I mean, again, this is a team that went after Lauri Markkanen and plays small forward. It's just like, I don't think they have a true sense of who or what they are right now. I think that's holding them back a little bit.
Ooh, the fire. I love this. But that's fact. Like, that's real. That's real. If you're relying on Rubio, like, do you really have the direction? I feel you.
Shout out to Bob Johnson in the comments who said, can I get a shout out? There you are. There's a shout out.
Shout out to you.
I love this joke from Jason Roberts. He said Ricky Rubio and Andre Drummond both born on leap years. When you're talking about NBA guys who you think are way older than they actually are.
Dude,
oh, my goodness.
Like, it's real. It's real.
Two other very low-key free agent signings for the Cavs. Robin Lopez on a 1-year deal, just under $3 million. Raul Neto, 1 year, $2.5 million. I think it was Buckness in the comments saying having Rolo back in the Central Division means we get more Rolo versus Benny the Bull content this season, which I love.
Yes.
Rolo versus Benny. Is there anything better?
No, there's not. Robin Lopez is awesome. He is beloved here. Can't wait to see him and Benny go at it. You know what I'm saying? Go back and forth with it. Like, Robin Lopez being in the league just makes the league better.
It does.
It does.
It's true.
It's awesome he's here.
Love Robin Lopez and love Raulzinho, one of two, I think, Brazilian players in the league. So shout out to him.
Shout out.
All right, gentlemen. So now let's, before we wrap up, take a quick look at our grades and projections for the Cavs for their offseason and for the 22-23 season. So I was a little kinder on my grade than both of you. I gave them a B-.
Yeah,
you guys both gave them flat C's.
How did they get a B-?
And we all have them in that play-in range as far as where we see them stacking up. So nothing that would bump them up from where they were, which was, by the way, they finished in the 7-8 slot, right? So they lost their first play-in game and then went down to the winner of the 9-10 and then lost that game to Atlanta, thus getting bounced from the actual real playoffs. So we all see them not really making a big step this season.
No, and can I just say it's awesome to be on the same page with Will on this one.
Yeah.
Because he said everything that I was thinking when I gave him that C. Because actually my original grade was
Yeah.
Like I had typed that out. I was like, And then I was like, well, just give him a C then. I wasn't impressed by what they really did in the offseason. The rookie that they got in the draft, I was like, okay, I like him. But if your biggest signing, you know what I'm saying, of course you get Garland back. But then outside of that, it's Ricky Rubio. And I'm like, that's not enough. It didn't feel like that's enough for me. You still didn't address certain things. Like you still got to worry about Lowry because we know who Lowry is. All right. You still got to answer that question there, man. And if you're running back what you did last year, I think you're putting a lot more on those young guys. You know what I'm saying? To be great early. You know what I mean? And I think they need more time to grow in the season and do some things. Not Garland. Garland's elite. He's fine, man. But a couple of those guys I just think need that time. And yeah, I just think they're still in that play-in game, even though they're going to be a fun team to watch. They're going to have some great games, but they're still going to have some things to deal with. It was underwhelming for me, Will.
Yeah, I think I kind of, as I was ranting here, talked myself down. I'd probably go even a little bit lower. But at the same time, I think they really do have maybe among the sort of top 8 or 9 teams in the East, the most internal room for development with Garland, Mobley, and Allen. Like they have an amazing young core, and those guys will get better. I do think they'll struggle out of the gate without Rubio. Who knows what happens with Sexton? I think you do have to like give them some demerits there because they just like have kind of tied their hands now with that situation. But yeah, I mean, I was just pretty underwhelmed by most of their signings. They're going to have to pay Karis LeVert. Kevin Love is off the books next year. Like, I just don't really know what their direction is. And I don't ever want to like criticize teams too heavily for not taking huge swings. Like, I think I probably have been a little bit unfair on the Bulls for like not making a huge swing when there probably weren't any to be had. So I'm not going to like discredit them too much there, but it's these smaller moves like drafting Agbaji, like not, Colin Sexton would be a trade asset if they got him at the right price. And maybe they just can't come to the right terms, but like to really alienate him and push him out and basically either lose him for nothing or have him play on the qualifying offer and then lose him for nothing is just like a bad situation. So I don't love the way that they've handled their business and set themselves up cap wise. Didn't love what they did in the draft, but you also have to just credit what they've done so far to build what's one of the best cores in the league and hope that those guys can continue to develop. So for me, I'm in the play-in for them. I think they end up approximately where they were last year. I do think they surge a little bit towards the end when Rubio gets healthy and maybe going into the 23-24 season are really starting to trend upwards.
We got a couple people debating Colin Sexton in the comments. Niall saying Sexton makes them a guaranteed playoff team, in my opinion. Charlie saying you're overrating Sexton. He's not even a starter for that team. LeVert is better than Sexton. That's the other key thing that we should make note of here as we wrap up our evaluation of the Cavs offseason. Colin Sexton, still unsigned. Not on a contract.
Crazy.
What's going to happen there?
20-point scorer in the league, man. Like, he's good.
Is he going to stay in Cleveland or is he going to go elsewhere? That's still a huge wild card for that team. I just quickly, I was maybe a little too generous. I was choosing between a C+ and a B-. I went with a B- because I really like Abaji. Maybe I'm too high on him, but I just really, really like him.
Okay.
And
he's a solid player. I don't think he's like bad. I also think
there's a chance that Diop at 39, steal.
Interesting.
There's not a whole lot we know from him after having played, overseas in Spain last season, but I like what I know so far about Diop. He could be a big steal for them.
Okay.
So those two draft picks is why I bumped him up to a B-.
Kind of wild. I just saw an NBA University, coincidentally, lowest field goal percentage allowed at the rim amongst qualifying bigs. Cavs have 4 guys in the top 10.
It's not surprising.
Jared Allen, number 1. Dean Wade, number 2.
Dean Wade.
Mobley's number 5. And Lauri Markkanen at 10.
That's not.
Yeah.
Okay, that stat is void.
Yeah.
That stat is void.
Number 3 is Will's favorite player in the league, Isaiah Hartenstein. So it's
And who's
clearly
number
a
9
good
on
list.
that list, Joey? Who's number 9 on that list?
Number 9, Wendell Carter Jr.
Hey, look
So
at Will.
what's more impressive is that Will literally clearly knew exactly what list I was referencing and
Yes,
already
'cause
had
that's the thrill,
and
sir.
he had the order memorized. He goes, "Who's 9?"
Are we shocked by this? This is the
No,
GOAT.
no,
It
just
actually, it actually just came up on my feed too, so I can't take the memorization credit.
No,
there,
you got to let that linger so we can add to your aura out here, man. You got to let that linger. You had that prepared, ready to go. He knew it was on.
All right, we are just about out of time. Just a few things before we get out of here. First of all, keep it locked on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We got Cubs postgame and Sox postgame coming up. Sox are in a deep hole right now in their last game against the Astros. 12-4, top of the 7th. Cubs holding a tight 1-0 lead over the Orioles, bottom of the 6th right now. We'll have postgames from both of those crews for you, plus pregame and postgame before and after Bears Seahawks tonight. Preseason game 2.
Let's do it.
Keep tuned in for our Bears crew doing pregame and postgame.
Bears.
Also, we are off tomorrow.
Bears.
There is a Bulls HQ podcast episode dropping for you guys in your podcast feeds featuring Will the Goat and our guy Mark K. So keep an eye out for that tomorrow morning. One more reminder, go read Will's column breaking down the Bulls schedule that's on allchgo.com right now. And because you and I are off tomorrow, Dave, got to give a happy day early birthday shout out to my pops who turns the big 7-0 tomorrow.
Ooh,
happy birthday, Pops.
Papa Peck.
He's about to be 70. Patrick Williams, still only 20 for another week.
6 more days, baby.
Mark's counting those days down.
Oh, my God, yes.
Thanks, everybody, for watching today's show. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Helps us out a lot. Tell your friends. Follow us, CHGO_Bulls on Twitter, Bulls_Pack, Bow, BAWL Sports, Won't Gottlieb. Shout out and appreciation, as always, to our pal and our producer, Joey, running things behind the scenes. Love that TNT Bulls graphic. It was great. Bulls Nation, listen to that Bulls HQ pod in your feeds tomorrow. We will see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Have fun. Be safe. See you, Red. Be good.